Well, it's his own fault for hunting deer. Okay.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
So, oh, there's a little hidey hole here.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
What is this area? Oh, Gregory.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Oh, I'm a child now.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Kids do that. Kids see things that the rest of us don't even think about. Everything's fun to a kid anyway.
Back time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
What am I even doing? Regor?
He reminded me so much of Count.
Eerie.
Lost in his
Hey.
imagination. Whatever it was, he saw.
Am I getting on you? Oh.
Sure made him act.
Okay. Doo-doo. What am I doing? Oh, I see.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Yeah, they can be happy, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're safe. There's a difference.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Oh dear.
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay.
Wow.
Love, Sam.
And that obviously led to the divorce. Huh. Yeah, incredibly horrible look.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
See, I like this.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Make him cry.
Oh, I can't actually like ruin the wedding. Am I supposed to go somewhere else? Oh, there's a tent. Apologies.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
What have I got hold of behind me now? Go inside the tent. Okay. Oh. Oh, well, okay.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
I wish that... Oh.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
13-year-old. He was 13. Another one who's died at like teenage years and lower. Oh.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
I mean, everything would just be a reminder. It's really strange to me.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Ah, so that's where Sanjay comes in. Okay.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Oh, there's a book here.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. Lewis was born a year later.
We go down, or? I guess we can't go down because
When my
there's a
dad
gap
died,
there.
I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Imagine the
For a
planning
while,
permission you'd have to go through
things
for
were
all
good.
these little
Almost
wings.
normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
You could just imagine it, couldn't you? Yeah, so we're looking to build another wing. Another wing? That's the 10th this decade. Oh, he doesn't have a death
After
date.
Milton disappeared, the only thing
Oh.
he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Because he went missing, that's why. Can I go in? Oh, it's foamed, that's why. I mean, this is a pretty sweet room, I'm not gonna lie.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh, do I have to? Oh, okay. Ah.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
That explains a bit. So he painted basically a stairway to, well, a doorway to nowhere, and then couldn't get back. There's a lot of magic and mystery in this house, and I kind of dig it. It's
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
It's so weird. Like he's got to be there. That's the door, right?
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
I suppose I better check around the other side just in case. I'd say well that the music is very peaceful as well. We're not even at the top yet.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Quite psychedelic. Is this a way in, or...? Let's see. I like how the rooms are also made of like little makeshift bits. Like this looks like it's made of a boat essentially.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the
right,
cannery,
okay.
but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh. Well, what am I doing here? Oh, I see.
I asked him to describe it.
Oh, I'm doing the right hand
He
with
said he started
the right
small,
stick, and I'm playing the maze with the left stick.
imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Get out of here, fish.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
This is weird to keep my eye on. Bats and toads. Oh wow, okay.
And things that have not names.
It's up
He
there.
knew it was all in his head.
This
took
is
it
so
very
strange.
I had hoped he'd find himself.
That's been done, that one.
But he found something more. I
It's a
worried
game
about
within a
him
game.
then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Probably because he's
Like a whole new Lewis.
probably because he zones out and just doesn't
So I
think
let
about
him
it.
go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Imagine if the cannery did make peaches.
He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Utopia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
I start getting used to how it is, and then I
And
just kind of
songs
lose
for them to
focus.
play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Nothing wrong with imagination.
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished.
Ah.
He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Sounds Mario, right?
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
Ah. Only not spelled
He started drifting away
L-O-U-I-S.
from our reality.
What's this one?
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
Oh dear.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
What should we go for? Beautiful prince or handsome queen? Do you know what? Actually, let's leave it with me. We'll go on beautiful prince.
beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for
Oh, let's go serpents.
sinister serpents. He followed the sound of his
We're going for the electric sitar. I'm sorry, we just have to.
electric sitar.
I'm still doing the
His chase
hand
led
motion
him
with
to
the
a
fish, by
golden
the way.
palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it.
Okay. That works.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
God?
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming.
Basically, he's lost touch with reality, hasn't he?
That the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
I'm just not gonna lie, that prince is not very handsome either. Sorry, beautiful
My
prince.
imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Ah. Imperial Palace. Okay.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker. he began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Yep, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh.
I still thought I could save him.
Oh dear. This
Even
is...
after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Okay. I can't get off the conveyor belt. Fellas?
His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Oh yeah.
Bend down his head.
Huh.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Fuck. I don't think there's really much to say about that, to be honest.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
There's a lot of issues dealt with in this game. That just so happens to be one of them.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
I mean,
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
this is their room, I assume.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Or is that her room?
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid
not
of isn't
really-
going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Yeah, there's not much coming back from that, really, is there?
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
By the way, guys, I just noticed that apparently the stream went down for a little bit. Do apologise. Didn't realise that was the case.
First and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Sign of a good game is when you can see the feet.
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
I still see my feet? Yep.
I got turned around. I started seeing things.
Huh.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
So this is the old house then.
Things I can't explain.
I assume it
but that I
flooded?
need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Oh, I could do that.
We
Okay.
both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
See, this would be good for like a DS style thing where if you blow,
My mom didn't like to talk about it.
it Basically unravels
but
all the
she started
letters.
getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Oh.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Huh. So she passed away at 18, I think it was. So yeah, that is that's what remains of Edith Finch. And it's what, an hour and 40 minutes long. I honestly thought it might take all stream. Yeah, it's certainly an unusual one, but definitely leaves a lot of questions. Like, where did that basically where did the poor luck come from? Where did the the misfortune of everyone, apart from I think Edith Senior, who lived until she was quite old actually. Everybody else either died from accidents or issues with their losing their grip on reality and stuff. So yeah, definitely an unusual game, and to be honest, it was more impressive the second time playing it and forgetting certain things, like that little twist at the end where Edith had actually already died and the book was being carried by, I assume that was her son. But the little mechanics and things in it, like the first person view of becoming like an owl and a cat, and then the comic book one. I'm a sucker for those comic book things because that's originally why I loved 13, the game, as I mentioned. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I do like that game. His music's great. Graphically, yes, it's not the best, but it's still nice for what it is. It looks good for what it is, and the house design is insanely good. Insanely good. And yeah, while the story does, as I said, it leaves a lot of like, well, why did that happen? Why does this happen? And so on and so forth. It was disappointing to see how I think Walter, was it, the one who was locked underneath, that he decided to like basically leave his solitude, and it resulted in him dying. It resulted in him dying from the train accident. That's a nice touch. Yeah, but all the little secret passageways and things like that, it was almost like it was a bigger version of the Studio Ghibli film, the Arrietty one. I can't remember its full title. But like little secret hidden passages and things like that. It's I think it's like, is it Secret World of Arrietty? Is that the name of it? I wanted to say Secret Life of Arrietty, but yeah, for me, it's a really good game, and I'll be very interested to find out what you guys think about it as well. So in the chat, any thoughts on it? Whilst I'm just riffing off what I'm thinking. But as always, I do like to give a little bit of a rating. So with some of the, it was Secret World of Arrietty. Apologies. Bearing in mind the music, which is lovely, the graphics, which are great for where it is. I think because it's so short, it leaves me wanting more, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because yes, I've completed it in an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm like, I want to keep playing, I want to play more. So I am kind of like a little bit disappointed that there's not more, and I would love for them to make a game in a similar sort of vein. Again, I have heard that they've got another game out. Is it something like I think it's like the Unfinished Swan or something, which is something for me to look into, of course. I think based on that, I'm gonna give it a 7, and it's because I like it, but I want to play more of it. It's like a connection between the natural world and people. I can kind of get what you mean. But if you noticed, it was like, it almost feels like it's strange as it got further away from Odin in the family tree, because you guys can see, you can't see where I'm pointing, but if you look, because Odin lasted for, what's that, 57 years? EDITH lasted for 93. But it seems like as it got further away from EDITH, the lifespans seemed to shorten a lot. But then you look at, I'm not too sure. There's a cult, it's ambiguous in itself, and leaves a lot to think about. But yeah, The game is short and kind of represents the short lives of the characters. Yeah, I get that. I think it's because I just wanted to play more. It'd be a 7.5 if I had to give it a true 0.5 rating. But yeah. So yeah, 7.5. I'll give it 7.5. I'll go with that because it's good for it. I do like the game a lot. So with that in mind, I will end it there for the YouTube video. So if you are watching on YouTube, you can comment and watch this like sort of stream live by going onto twitch.tv/ShadowWolfLP. And if you do wish to watch more of the streams, like, subscribe, and continue to watch as I upload them. There will be more streams. There are a back catalogue of streams, including the streams I've done previously. That's on, obviously, the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ShadowWolfLP. And you can watch, yeah, basically a vault of previous streams. So, for the YouTube video, this is where I will end it. So thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you tune in next time. Find me on Twitch, as I said, and pop a follow on there. The road to 50 followers is a long and winding one, and I hope to see you on there. So from me, take care, have a great evening.